and I had a great time with it. I really liked that Eminem did the track to the movie, which then also became popular. It was just him saying Venom over and over. You don't have
Yeah,
that really anymore with films. That felt so throwback to the 90s. That was kind of like Go Ninja Go for the movie.
yeah. What's the other superhero song? I guess "Hero" by Chad Kroger, right?
That would be the last one for Marvel, probably. Marvel, like the Marvel Studios, they don't give a shit about any of that. They don't care. They don't even care about giving you a typical movie structure because they got to plant like 40 seeds every movie for
Like in
future
this one,
movies.
like in
Yeah,
this movie.
this one does the same.
It's like,
You know, it's getting repetitive what people say when they're hyped up. You can like these movies. You can like this. There's nothing wrong with that. They're designed for children ultimately. But
well,
here's what I don't like.
for children, and this is something that I, for whatever reason, realized until now in a video that I shared with you from Film Threat. They're designed for children and for 50-year-old men that wear Justice League snap hats and Spider-Man t-shirts to review movies, and where their entire life is collecting action figures and comic books, even though they're old as fuck and still dressed like 5-year-olds. Because I wanted to get, I mean, I know that this movie's been getting a lot of positive everything, but I was like, who the fuck is reviewing this? Let me see. And is the crowd that Red Letter Media made fun of on those Star Wars videos that made fun
Uh-huh.
where they're just wearing like snap masks or whatever. I just didn't know that those people still existed. I guess I was just not aware of the fact that that's still a type
Oh
of
no, no,
person.
no. It's a religion essentially. They're not, they're a little like they're temporarily embarrassed about it, but it's going to come back, don't you know?
Mm.
And it might. I mean, all the shit we complained about 6, 7 years ago, whether it's limited to Marvel or just like in life in general, can snap back like that. It's not a problem. Right now, we're in a period where kind of people are aware of like, a lot of this sucks, huh? And it seems like a mess. But Spider Man's a little different. Spider Man resonates with the Gen Z audience in particular. And I think it's because. So when does Gen Z officially start? Is that the year like 2002? Is that 1999? What is that? They've had Tom Holland as their Spider-Man, who's like he at least looked around probably 15, 16 year old's age in 2016 when he started with Homecoming and the Civil War movie. And he's been around for 10 years. So they do have a fondness just because he's been here. Um, and then you have
Gen
the
Z
Spider
is
Verse movies that I think made it specifically more of an ethnic trend where brown Zoomers can't get enough of this shit. And they don't really have the ability to discern that hey, this is like garbage because they don't care about film. They don't really care about cinema on the whole. So you see a bunch of sparkly visuals on the screen like you saw in the Spider Verse movies, and you see something like that here. It must be good. It must be fucking
mm.
quality, right? So,
Well, I've seen that on that. I posted this tweet comparing because someone was saying that Nolan and Kubrick are comparable, right? Someone that's I'm
mm,
sure very young. So I retweeted that and I said that Nolan is closer to uh, James Cameron than Kubrick. And the replies have been really interesting because everyone that seems to have a very young person Twitter account is completely all in the Nolan train of like there's no one better than him. Like who the fuck is Kubrick? Like no one makes movies like Nolan. And anyone that's a little older that has, I guess, seen the movies agrees with my statement. But I wasn't even shitting on Christopher Nolan. Like I wasn't even saying that he's a shitty director. James Cameron is one of the most successful directors ever, and he's made some really good blockbuster movies. But it's just to me, it's just like the type of movie that they make, right? But it's just been very revealing to see like the mentality of younger people where they're not even curious as to what came before because what they're putting on screen now is the best, and then I'm growing up with this, so this is the best and the bestest, and this guy's a genius, and there's no thought about like anything that came before it because this is the now and this is amazing and nothing is better, and it's just very shallow and brain dead.
yeah. I mean, I think that's a lot of cinema critic, cinema snob, cinema nerd culture in general is they have a very surface level idea of what movies are and what film is. And I said this before, I think that the comic book movie culture of the 2010s has just become film nerd culture now. Is like the same type of people that would show up to these movies when they were doing like Avengers 5 or Avengers 3 or whatever. Now go on Letterbox and they have like a slightly more sophisticated palette, and they'll tell you that a movie like, which is a good movie, a movie like Anora is the best movie of the last 15, 20 years or something like that, because it's very hip, trendy, young, youthful, and it's well made. It's like, okay, you're getting a little closer to where you probably need to be to actually appreciate all this stuff, but you're not willing to expand your palette beyond
Mm-hmm.
what you're comfortable with. So, and then there's a level of unbridled confidence that comes with that. So Spider-Man: Brand New Day, fourth movie, new director, big cast, kind of no villain. Is
No.
Jean Grey really a villain? Kind of. She does villainous stuff, but then at the end they have to set up the X-Men movie, so let's just ignore a couple of things where she's a little sociopathic, a little borderline. We got to do our X-Men.
She's just a girl, dude. She's just a girl trying to live in this world that's not made for girls. She might kill. There might be some collateral damage where, she might squeeze a bus to death and people inside it might die in the most horrible way possible. But you know what? She had a tough morning, so maybe just let her be, you know?
Which is a lot of the attitude around women and young women these days, isn't it? I mean, that's not incorrect. That is like the New York thing of like, well, you let a woman get away with a lot more than you would a man. If Jean Grey was a young Professor X, I don't think we're having this conversation. But she is kind of Magneto-ish
Well,
in
that's how this
this
is handled, right?
film.
Especially with this character that, I mean, I'm not the biggest Jean Grey fan, but I know that is a very complex, powerful character that has died multiple times and come back from death and turned into the Phoenix and all this complicated story. And instead of exploring that, it's just, oh, she's evil-ish, but she's still an X-Men, so we can't make her evil. So we go back to Marvel and their villains that don't matter and that face no consequences, which make it really difficult for you to give a fuck about the hero. Especially in a movie like this where the hero's alone and he's like, "Oh man, my friends that are not my friends anymore, but oh, I miss my friends and I'm just
Well, he gets him
sad,
back
alone."
because, again,
Shit.
like you said, there's no consequence. They won't even commit to small consequences now. You will see
Well,
like Aunt May come back at a certain point for real, not just in the dream sequence.
Well, it just makes no sense. Like, why make that decision if you're just going to reverse it in the next movie? Then
Because
what's the
they don't
point of?
have they don't want to lose their stable of actors, and they just want to like yo the audience. I mean, look at Robert Downey Jr. is going to be back as Doctor Doom. They couldn't even stick to that. They
Yeah.
couldn't stick to that. They got so fucking desperate. They said, Robert, we'll give you any amount of money in the world if you just come back. And he said, sure, but I want to play Doctor Doom. And then they just like scrapped their whole playbook of like, it's going to be Kang. I thought Kang
Hmm.
was a Ninja Turtles villain anyway. Um,
Yeah. And he's supposed to look like whoever too, so they could have just recasted him, but no,
Jonathan
instead,
Majors. What did he even
yeah.
do? What, did he push the lady or something? I
Well,
don't
he's making
know.
real cinema now, right?
Thank God.
Falling out of windows.
I'm
Or
so
what?
happy.
Yeah, he fell out of a window, right?
Run,
Or did he
Hide,
push
Fight,
someone out of a window?
Infidels coming to a theater near
Yeah.
you. The Run, Hide, Fight universe. Yeah. I mean, all that was like, it's kind of baffling in retrospect that they thought doing like a second. I know it's not the second phase, but like second era of Marvel that would be led by Captain Marvel and like the little Pakistani Captain Marvel,
Hmm.
and then like the Black Lady Captain Marvel, and
Yeah.
who
And
else? Who else
the
is in here?
Black
WandaVision,
Panther, girl Black Panther,
a,
and
a Viola Davis as Black
girl,
Panther.
yeah, girl Wolverine, that little girl, right?
Like
That was
what
another
were they
one.
gonna do? And it was gonna be Kang, and we're supposed to be excited about Kang. His name is Kang.
Yeah, you go from Thanos, who most people, even if they're not comic book fans, are at least familiar with what the character looks like, to this character that even me, that like I like some comics. I'm not like a huge comic book person, but I had no idea who the fuck that villain is. And they, I wonder if they just wanted to go very dark so that in case it's very successful, which is what they were expecting, I guess, then maybe in the future we can actually use a villain that people recognize. And why would I care about this Kang
And what's
character?
I think even more stupid is like they have a huge stable of iconic characters. Like this should have been your game plan from the jump. I understand that like the X-Men or whatever, you need some time to figure that out. But you have Fantastic Four, you had all of that, and then you could have done something with Daredevil and Punisher and Elektra a lot sooner. Um, what's
I
funny
think
is like DC is
oh,
kind of speed running the that second era of Marvel with like
the failing one.
yes, yeah, yeah. Like James Gunn is so preoccupied with these nothing characters,
Yeah.
starting the universe off with a Creature Commandos cartoon show. I'm seeing announcements like the Jimmy Olsen Gorilla Grodd Hour is going to be premiering next year.
No, no, no.
Lanterns with the
What
secondary Green Lantern.
the Waller show? Remember when he announced that? He's like, "We're very
None of
excited
that.
to
None
have
of
a
also, yeah,
Amanda
none of this
Waller show."
shit happened because they realized James Gunn is gonna burn a massive hole in our pocket for something that nobody's interested in.
Yep.
Waller, the Authority movie, all of this just magically disappeared.
Hmm.
And I'll be surprised if his Batman movie even winds up making. Now I'm seeing Andy Muschietti's tied to like 4 Stephen King projects. So what's going on with that? Is that done because you have the Batman Part Two, which is going to be shit, also just a different flavor of shit. Um, and what is the idea here? What are you doing? Also, I did want to say real quick. I don't make an effort to watch cartoons. I'm not as vehemently against the idea of sitting down and watching a Batman cartoon like Hans here. I say
Yeah.
absolute Batman's get a cartoon at. Fuck that. I don't watch cartoons. I'm
It's
a
like, what
man.
am I, a fucking kid?
What am I,
What
a
am I, a
baby?
child?